Hey everybody, and welcome to another video session where you get to have some questions answered regarding mediumship and psychic abilities. I know that the last video I talked about ghost for a little bit, but I want to revisit that just for a few minutes because I just had a client contact me, and he has a real serious ghost problem, actually. This particular entity. Um, Now, I've only talked to this client on the phone. I haven't actually done the reading or the session for the client yet. Honestly, I just got an email from him. I haven't talked to him on the phone. But when he described his problem, I was able to follow his energy back to his house and see what was happening and actually see the things happening in the house and what the energy was in the house. And so what's happened with him is that he has a ghost that is really a much stronger ghost than your typical. I talked last time about having the ghost maybe be in the attic, or some bumbling ghost that just came out at night, and they were, they didn't bother anybody, right? But this particular ghost is bothering this gentleman. And I've seen this before, and I've dealt with it before. Of a ghost is specifically attached to the house that you're in. You've bought a house, obviously, many times other people have lived in it, and maybe someone has died that used to own that house, and they're attached to the house, and they don't want to leave. As a matter of fact, not only do they not want to leave, but they're mad at you for being there, and they're upset with you for doing any remodeling that you might be planning to do. They may not agree that that remodeling needs to be done. That happens more often than you think. And in this case, the gentleman that I just emailed, he's getting ready to do a big kitchen remodel. And in point of fact, he's seen, shadows, and he's seen things in the house that he's always just sort of explained away. But in the last few weeks, when this remodel is becoming more of a real thing instead of a planned thing, this particular ghost has made very physical, he's done things physically to make this gentleman aware that he's there. He's moved the covers very high, dropped them on his chest. He's done things that just seem crazy. I'll be the first to tell you what I do. Sometimes I think maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But really and truly, I have woken up with scratches many times from ghosts, and he woke up with scratches, and that's what made him call me or email me was, my gosh, I think maybe I'm not crazy. I don't know, but I've got these things going on. The covers lifted over my body and dropped down on top of me a good 6 inches. And now I have these scratches. I woke up with scratches, and how would I get those? Well, this particular entity is pissed off, basically. And he wants to make them uncomfortable enough. Honestly, he thinks if he can make them uncomfortable enough, they'll move. They'll sell the house and move. And that's his goal. I don't think he realizes new people are going to move in. They may be worse. He may not like them any better. But whatever, he's dealing with the situation he's with now, and he wants these guys gone. So, I wanted to talk about this because this is a problem when energies or entities get too much power, too much energy from you, and they start moving things around your house. To me, that's not acceptable. That is just not acceptable. I will not live like that. I don't think anybody else should live like that. So what I told him to do right now, tonight, since we're not going to be having our session immediately, I wanted to give him some advice to at least begin the process of protecting himself. So what I told him to do, and I'm pretty sure that I shared this with a video, but you can Google any white light protection meditation, basically where you bring white light down from the heavens, the universe, and you bring it in through your head. You let it, everything is done with visualization and imagery and imagination. So you're going to imagine this white light come down, and you're going to see it with your eyes closed. You're going to see it come through your head, fill your body with this beautiful protective white light. And as it fills your body, every little cell of your body, all the way down to your toes and your fingertips, then it emanates away from your body, and it fills your house. It fills the room you're in. It fills the house. It fills the rooms, the attic, the garage. Then it goes outside of the house. You envision it as a cloud or as a fog or as a bright white blanket. Whatever you want to envision, it doesn't matter. And then that white light goes into your neighborhood. It goes into your city, into your state, into your country, and then out into the universe. Okay? It all emanates from above you, through you, out of you, and back to the universe again. But what we're doing is we are not only healing ourselves with that white light, but we're also taking the opportunity to take that white light and emanate it from ourselves into our neighbors and into our, obviously our family members, wherever they live in the world, will also be encompassed with this white light, and the white light will heal and be sent out through the whole world. So this is what I told him to do. When he does this, what's going to happen is that he's creating a shield around himself, an energetic shield. And that energy, that entity, he cannot get close to him anymore because he's got a shield around him. The shield is white light. That's protective. So that's going to help him keep this guy some distance from him so that he doesn't come in to his physical body, so he doesn't come into his physical space and mess with his surroundings like his covers or anything else that he's been messing with. I think if this guy thought about it and actually sat down with a piece of paper, he could probably name 5 things that have happened that are not normal in his house. I promise you. Things with your pets. I've had ghosts come in. I mentioned in the last video, I've had ghosts come in and really, really mess with pets. I myself have experienced this. I mean, I'm embarrassed to admit that it took me that long to figure out that it was a spiritual entity that was causing my dog, who's the happiest, goofiest dog you've ever met, not afraid of anything, not just happy. But she went through a period where every night at 9 o'clock at dusk in the summertime, as soon as it got dark, she would start panting and shaking. And she would pant so hard that I would think that she was going to hyperventilate. And there was nothing I could do to console her. I couldn't hug her. I couldn't pet her. I couldn't give her treats. I couldn't play with her. I couldn't do anything. There was nothing that you could do to get her out of this. It lasted from 9 to midnight every night. Every night. So this went on for a week before I realized, that it was a spiritual component to this. Once I figured that out, again, I have no excuse. No excuse. Once I figured that out, I was able to tune in and find the person causing the problems, who was in my house, for sure. A lot of things were there actually once I looked. And I got rid of all of them. It did take me about 2 weeks. It was a very intense attachment to the house, these people. But once I got rid of them, my dog went back to normal. 9 o'clock at night, she was totally fine, not panting, not shaking, not upset. She was her old self again. It was like night and day. As soon as I got rid of those people, she was back to herself. So they can have an effect on your pets. They can have an effect on your kids. They can have an effect on you. So if you have something like this and you have an energy that is literally moving things around your house, closing doors, opening doors, turning lights off and on, making noise, doing things that you hear in this dimension, that entity has a lot of energy. It has a lot of power, if you will, because it's able to do these things. Most ghosts just do not have that power. They don't. And they don't want it. They don't have an axe to grind, let's say. But when you do have one, you need to deal with it. So the first thing you do is protect yourself. in most cases, just by protecting yourself with this white light protection, and doing that several times a day if need be, it only has to take 30 seconds to a minute. It doesn't take long. That is going to make your house, what it's really going to do is make the vibration of the energy in your house higher. And when that happens, as we talked before, ghost energy is a very low vibration. They don't feel comfortable with a very high vibration house. So when you do that white light protection, you're raising your vibration. You're raising your personal vibration, but you're also raising the vibration in your house. So that is going to create a situation or an environment where that ghost is not going to feel comfortable there, and they're going to move on. Now, in this case, with this particular client, this guy is attached to the house, and he is not likely to move anywhere, when we do this, when my client does this. But he will have to step back. He will have to be pushed back and feel less able to manipulate my client's energy or my client's energy around the house. From there, what I would do when I talk to this gentleman is I would basically tune in to his energy, talk to his guides, I would tune into the energy of the house, the energy of his guides, the energy of his higher self, and also I'll tune into the energy of this guy, who frankly is a jerk. So I'm kind of calling him the jerk, sorry. But he's kind of a jerky personality. It's mine and it's not yours, and you need to leave it alone. And it's just not a very accommodating live and let live energy that this guy has. My client recently found out about this previous owner of the house and know that he died. And, even though they've had this house for many, many, many years, it's funny how they started having trouble in the house. And then one of the neighbors told him, oh, well, this guy used to own your house and he died. And, funny how all that comes together right at the same time. But for this guy, I will talk to those things that I mentioned, the guides, whatnot, and I'll come up with a plan. In the past, it's been things like, believe it or not, like having an indoor fountain with water. It just drove this other entity crazy. I mean, he couldn't stand it. He literally left because of the water. Unfortunately, my client, his wife, hated the waterfall. But it took 3 weeks, and then after that, the entity was gone, and they could go in their bathroom again, and then she got to take the waterfall down and throw it in the trash, because that's what she did. But it worked. So I use whatever the guides give me to use. Water disrupts vibration. The sound of water disrupts vibration. You've heard of singing bowls or metal bowls. They disrupt the vibration of a house. So you can actually get even a tin bowl that when you strike it with a spoon or something, if it has a high-pitched resonance that just keeps going and going, that is enough to disrupt the energy in your house. They don't like it. So those are some things you can do. I can't be more specific until I figure out, from you what the case is with your particular entity. They are all different, but these are some generic things that tend to work, and it'll get you started anyway. The things that you should know is don't put up with this kind of manipulation by an energy. You really need to do something about it at that point. If it's interfering with your energy, if it's interfering with your daily activities, if it's interfering with your physical things, then it's time to address it. It is just time to address it and get this ghost to move, either to move away from the house and ban it from the house, or to hopefully get it to cross over. Hopefully. So that's ghost. Now, I just wanted to revisit that because I just got this email, and I realized that I talked about ghosts, but I didn't really talk about that aspect of ghost, and it's an important one. The next thing I want to talk about is I'm going fast. Is People ask me, how can you do readings over the phone or over Skype or over Zoom or whatever? Well, energy is energy. Just like I just told you about this client, and I was able to, just via an email with his name, to connect my energy into his energy. Once I was connected to his energy, I was in his house. I can often describe your house to you. I can often say, especially when I'm dealing with ghost issues, there's a hallway and then there's a door to the right. And then if you go straight, there's a door straight ahead, and then there's a door to the left. I can literally describe the house to you. It's as if I'm walking through your house with you, through your mind. So energy is energy. I can easily connect with your energy via the phone, via Skype, via Zoom, or any other technology. Of course, I do in-person readings, but I'm one person in one city and I have clients everywhere. So it's much easier for me to just do the readings via phone or via some other technology. Hopefully that I know that I feel the viewers feeling like I have more questions. Wait, I have more questions. Okay, energy is energy. So listen, if we could describe this and explain this, it would already be in the science books. Unfortunately, it's not, because it's hard. It's hard to describe, and it's hard to even prove, other than when I'm talking to you, you pretty much know that I'm dialed into your personality because I just described you. And you know that I'm talking to your grandmother because I told you that she bakes Wiener Schnitzel. Somebody watching this video is going to have a grandmother that makes a Wiener Schnitzel, because I don't even know what that is. So anyway, that's what happens. So I just wanted to address that. Psychics and mediums can connect to your energy through any way, an email, a text, phone call, Zoom, Skype, whatever. And it's not any harder for me to do that way than it is to do it sitting in front of you. So that's that. Next thing is, I can't read my handwriting. So I think I wrote down the question. How do I see people? So when I do a mediumship reading, and I'm focused on you, the person coming to see me, and let's say you say I want to talk to my grandmother. Grandmother's here again. And I focus on your grandmother. I ask them, can I see your grandmother? And then I see this woman that has a bun. Her hair is in a bun. It's gray. It's got a battleship gray. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. But it's a gray that's not like this. It's not snowy white Casper. It's darker. And anyway, it's in a bun, and she's wearing, I wish I could describe this better, but I could see it so clearly. I could see the shape of her face. She has a chin, but around her face. So, she has a defined chin, but around her face. Her original hair color must have been a brown, an interesting brown, not a dark brown, not a light brown, but a really pretty brown, because I'm actually seeing her eyelashes, and that's the color that they are. I see that she has green eyes. I see that she has sort of thin lips, not very thick lips, very thin lips. She's smiling, but not with a lot of teeth. She's, a little bit rounder in her body presentation. I don't see a defined waist. I just kind of see, like a body shape that's, not defined in that way. So she's a white lady. She has, I think her brown hair is almost like, it's the strangest color. It's like a light brown, because I want to say that the hair on her arm is still like blonde or light, really light. Okay. I don't know why she's showing me her arms. So this is what I see. So I see the arms because I feel like she's getting ready to do something like bake. There's a rolling pin. So she's showing me her arms. That's important to her, that she is still able to bake. So this message would be, look, my arms still work. I can use the rolling pin and I can make those things that I make, the sweets, and then the biscuit. She doesn't really like making the biscuits, but she does make them. But she, I don't know whose grandmother this is. It's not mine, because mine didn't do this particular. Mine was much much skinnier. But anyway, the reason that's important, so the reason they'd be showing me that is because something must have happened that she wasn't able to bake anymore. She either lost the strength in her arms and she wasn't able to do that, or she became very, I'm going to say frail, but she's not thin. So to me, that means that she's lost her strength, right? She's just not able to stand up and do this rolling of the dough. So that was important to her. That would be something that she wanted to show me. Now, what's interesting is that they show me what's important to them. So let's say for me personally, my grandmother was much, much older. And so if she showed me something that happened before I knew her, when she was really in the vitality of her life, I wouldn't know that that's my grandmother, right? I mean, because I didn't know my grandmother at that stage in her life. So sometimes they'll show me things that are important to them, but yet the person I'm reading for doesn't recognize it. So if it was really important for your grandmother to make these schnitzels, I swear to God, I hope there's dough in them because otherwise I don't understand. If it was important for her to show you that, but yet you didn't like them and you didn't even want to be in the kitchen with her anyway, what your connection to her was reading. She would sit and read a book with you, right? But if she starts off this reading and she says, oh, I want to show you that I can use my rolling pin, that might not be validated for you, right? So then you may say, no, I don't really know what you're talking about, or that doesn't really feel right to me. So then I go back to her and I say, okay, Grandma, give me something else that makes sense to Sally or whoever. And then she'll come back and say, oh, Sally, yes, I used to sit her on my lap and we would read together. And those were really special times for both of us. And then Sally's like, oh my God, that's my granny. That's my grandma, because that's what she did. So you see how that can be a trip, how you can be tripped up by that. So I started off with how I see them. So they describe, I see their visual image. Sometimes they make me feel how they passed. I will all of a sudden not be able to breathe, feel like pressure on my chest. My head will hurt so bad. And I'll tell my client, oh my God, my head is killing me. I mean, it's killing me. And they'll say, oh yes, well, they had an aneurysm or they fell and hit their head. And then I have to go tell the spirit who's coming through, thank you for showing me that, but please stop. Because honestly, they don't know how to turn it off. They just impress upon me what they feel. And then they forget that they should take it back, and then, so I have to ask them, okay, that's enough. And it can sometimes it's taken 5 or 10 minutes sometimes for them to pull that back from me. It's very uncomfortable, to feel that pain or the stomach queasiness. Oh my God, I felt it all. Stomach queasiness, my chest, my head, hand, something happened to my hand. Anyway, so it's very interesting. The people that have crossed over, they come through with so many ways. They give me the visual description. I sometimes can hear how they talk, especially if they have an accent or if they say something in a certain way. I have a funny story about that. Hopefully I'm not I'm going to hopefully wrap this up in about 5 minutes or less. So I'm giving a reading to a family that has lost, the mother has lost a son, and the sisters that are there, there are two sisters there, they've lost their brother. And they're all adults. And one of the sisters has brought her husband. So the only person that's not in the immediate family is the husband of one of the sisters. Okay. So now, when I say lost, what I mean is he was murdered, basically. And they wanted to find out a little bit more about what happened. Of course, they have a police report, and they wanted to know if I could connect with him and find out more information, because they were actually really going to hire an attorney and do a lot more investigating on their own. And they just kind of wanted to know, A, if I could connect with him, B, if he had an opinion about it, C, would he tell them what happened? Would he share with them what happened? So I'm sitting at this table, and these people are surrounding me, and it's extremely tense. I mean, very, very, very tense, the energy. And these are not people, these are people that this is all their first reading. They're doing this out of desperation, right? To contact their son and their brother. And so they're pretty guarded, to say the least, about this. So when I call in the son to come forth and to speak with us, the first thing I hear, and I don't see anything, but the first thing I hear over to the right is bulldog. Now I'm thinking, this was in person, obviously, and it was in an old house in a city that's well known for being haunted. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's funny, but you need to get out of my reading, because that's not funny. I mean, what the heck am I supposed to tell these people? Bulldog? Not Dave is here, or, I'm here, it's your son, and this is what happened. No, none of that. This is what my angels do to me. They like to throw me curveballs. They think it's funny. So I get bulldog and nothing else. Nothing. Silence. Crickets weren't even chirping. And I think, okay, I've got to go with bulldog, because that's all I got. So I look around these people, and they're staring at me. I mean, it was intense. And I say, okay, I just have to give you what I got. What I got was bulldog. And they're all like, what? What's bulldog? He didn't have a dog? What are you talking about? Really, not very accepting. And then, thank God. And then, this happens a lot, you guys. I'm telling you, it happens a lot. Then one of the sisters who brought her husband, he chimes in, y'all, that's what he always called any dog, was bulldog. Even if it was your mother's chihuahua, he'd say, hey, bulldog. Or if it was somebody's, poodle, he would say, hey, bulldog, come here, bulldog. He just, instead of like pup, he called him bulldog. This woman had dogs. They were her kids. Now that her kids were grown, these were her kids. So he was talking to the dog who was in the room and calling it bulldog. And thankfully, the husband of the sister, who's not related, not blood related, was able to remember that. Because what happens when you have a reading, even for me, is you're so in some other zone. First of all, you're just freaking out that this is even happening, and you can't really think very well, and you just all of a sudden forget that your aunt was named Bessie, and she was your favorite aunt, but all of a sudden you don't remember her name. And the medium's bringing in Aunt Bessie, and you're like, I don't have an Aunt Bessie. I can't tell you how many times other people have gone and said, excuse me, remember you do. Remember Aunt Bessie? So luckily, this gentleman was able to, sit up and say, hey, that's him. Who else calls dogs bulldog? thank God, because I was getting ready to, I mean, I don't know. They were pretty intense. So once that happened, they were able to say, okay, maybe it is him. But then I was able to go through and describe exactly what happened. Um, he showed me, in other words, again, back to grandma showing me rolling out the rolling pin. He showed me his hands. He showed me what was done to him. Um, he showed me what he wanted to show them. And luckily they had read the police report, and that's exactly was in the police report. So it matched. I didn't know any of these people. I had never met them before. I, I've just had that one reading with them, and I've never seen them again. But even though I was able to provide very detailed information that appeared on a police report, and the police report had not been public, obviously, it was a murder, it was a private matter. So they had a copy of the police report. But I was able to provide information that was very specific on the police report. And he did give them some information about the murder. But he led with Bulldog. I still, to this day, cannot get over that. Anyway, let me say this. Interestingly enough, his message to his family was, don't go after anybody. Let it go. It's going to consume you. It's already consumed Mom. And it's going to consume all of you even more. And it's going to ruin, not ruin your life, but it's going to ruin the living of your life. And he made peace with it. And he was asking them to make peace with it. And they weren't ready to, and they didn't make peace with it, and that's fine. At least at that session, they weren't ready to make peace. But he did come through and give them information that was validated, and then he gave them his heartfelt personal opinion about it. So, wow. I know this has been a whirlwind. I know I was talking really fast, and I'm sorry. I guess you'll just have to rewatch it. But I wanted to put a lot in. I don't want these videos to last very long because, we don't have all day to watch videos. Well, some of us do, but I don't. I really enjoy giving these videos to you guys. I hope you enjoy watching them, and I hope you'll tune in again to see the next one. And leave your comments in the comments below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Because you really want to hear more of these crazy stories. There are more. And I want you to hear them too. And I hope you guys are all well. And all the best to you. Take care.